What's up, party people? Sunday afternoon in Dot's camp. It's a little noisy in the background. She has a lot of tourists coming through today. I was down here hanging out, and then all of a sudden I decided, why not make a video? Why not make a video? Whoa. Hey, Marty. Hey, Maggie May. I'm sorry I called you Marty. Let me sit down here next to Maggie May. I get Maggie in the scene. Oh, Maggie. How you doing, baby? Did I actually get you in there? There you go. There's Maggie. How's that girl doing? She's doing good. Marty's hanging out too. So I'm having fun reliving my memories of the Mojave Desert phone booth. I did remember it, but there's a lot of things I forgot that my memory's been jogged after seeing videos and thinking about it and looking at photographs. But people want me to make a video about the phone calls. I do remember most of them. Any conversation you could have with someone, I've had it. The good, the bad, the ugly, the strange, the profound. I've only hung up on one person throughout the whole time. I just got tired of them. I don't know how they got through so many times, but I talked to Art Bell about that. I'm not going to get into it. But if you called the Mojave Desert phone booth, and while I was the operator, if I answered it, I'd listen to you. We'd chat as long as you want. Some conversations lasted seconds, some lasted minutes, some lasted a few hours. A lot of lonely people called the phone booth. I'd talk to them. And crazy people would call the phone booth. I'd talk to them. Sane people would call the phone booth. Drunk people, high people, completely straight, normal people. But yeah, party people, the phone calls were fun and some were strange. But I want to stress it wasn't so much that it was the random calls. It was the order in which they came. Like how you could be having a conversation about something. Say 3 minutes. Hang up the phone. It rings. You pick it up. And it's on a completely different level. And you have to adjust to that. You have to decompress from the conversation before. Not all the time, but sometimes. Well, I'll give you an example in a few minutes. I'm thinking about some of the calls. Now, some of the calls, I remember the conversations. Some of the calls, I just remember the names of the people and where they're calling from. Their names stuck out to me, you know. You guys hear that in the background? There's some partying going on in the House of Dots. Anyway, yeah. Or was I? Phone calls, yeah. Oh, yeah. So, I really can't remember what I talked to this one guy about, but I remember I was really intrigued. He was from North Carolina. He was an attorney. And when I asked him what his name, I forgot to tell you this, party people. Everybody that called, I would, within a few seconds, I'd ask them their first name and where they're calling from, and I wrote it down. I had my own phone log, right? So, this guy, when I said, hey, what's your name? He goes, hey, it's the, I said, hey, man, where are you calling from? He said, North Carolina. And I said, oh, what do you do? He said, I'm an attorney. I'm like, oh, okay. What's your first name? He goes, you can call me the Glove. The Glove. I got this one call from the Midwest. Let's keep in mind, party people, this is 1999. So you got to put yourself in that time frame. There was still a lot of landlines. There was no smartphones. There wasn't even Google. And also, long distance rates were very expensive at certain times of the day. So I'm just going to throw out some random calls I got. And the reason I was mentioning all this is because I'm leading up to a call I got from a kid about 12 years old, somewhere in the Midwest. I answered the phone, Mojave does a phone booth, and he's whispering. He's real quiet. He can't believe he got through. We're talking. Ask him his first name, where he's calling from, and after a few minutes, I'm like, hey, dude, why don't you talk, man? You're whispering. I can barely fucking hear you. And he says, my parents don't know I'm calling the desert in California, so I don't want them to know. Oh, really? So I drew this kid into a long conversation, probably 45 minutes to an hour. Asked him about school, the teachers that he hates, the teachers that he likes, if he was interested in girls. He liked to skateboard. Oh, yeah, what kind of deck you got? Where do you skate at? You skate with your friends? What kind of music you're into? We went on and on and on. And then, yeah, he hung up after about, I don't know, 25 minutes maybe? Maybe. I got a lot of calls from callers overseas that when I picked up, they'd start talking to me and realize that I answered, which means it connected, which means they're going to get a giant overseas long distance phone call, and they will abruptly hang up on me. And then someone would be polite and go, I got to go, man. I didn't realize someone's going to answer this phone. Maggie May wants to get in the scene. Oh, baby. That's my girl. What's some other calls? Oh, here we go. Now, like I said, they'd be random, back to back to back. I'd have someone really lonely talk to me for 2 hours, hang up, have someone call from a bar in Texas, drunk, pass the phone around, talk to a bunch of drunk people in bars in Texas, talk to drunk people in bars in Scotland. Yeah, I've got a few calls from bars. Got a call from someone, a fireman in Ohio. Librarians, furniture salesman. But then I got the crazy ones. There's two calls that stick out in my mind because one was so evil and one was so innocent, and they came back to back. As Russ processing, the evil came first. So, I got a call from Germany. The guy spoke broken English, but it was pretty good. In the background was a guy screaming in German, and it sounded like he was throwing glass bottles against a brick wall. But there was an echo to it all, like it was in a warehouse. Anyway, the German guy on the phone, I don't want to tell you exactly what he said because it's really perverted. And I feel like I need to tell you exactly what he said, and so you can understand how insane these two calls were back to back. Oh man, now I'm in a conundrum. Let me think here. Okay, let me just say this. I got him on the phone. He was shocked someone answered, and then what he tried to do was shock me with a lot of vulgarity. So he told me that he was coming to America with a bunch of cocaine. And he was going to hook up with the American girls. And then he gave me details of what he was going to do with the American girls after he gave them all the cocaine. This went on and on and on, with a German guy screaming in the background, breaking glass. I let him say his piece. And when he was done, he said, "What do you think of that? What do you think of that, American? What do you think of that?" And I said to him, that's a coincidence. Because I'm on my way to Germany with a bunch of cocaine. I was going to hook up with all these German girls. And I gave it right back at him in a very matter-of-fact tone. And when I was done, he just started laughing his head off, saying, "You're cool, man. I like you. You're cool." And then he put the other guy on who couldn't speak any English. And he just said, a bunch of swear words and laughed. And then the guy got back on, started getting really vulgar again, and then abruptly hung up after he said some really vile things. So he hung up. I hung up. Phone's immediately ringing. I give it 3 rings. And I say, "Mojave Desert phone booth. How can I help you?" And I heard something like this. "Hi, this is Mrs. Robinson of the Ottawa School District, and you're on speakerphone with my 4th grade class. And I'm immediately talking to 4th grade children, asking me questions about the desert and the phone booth." Now, mind you, I just got off the phone with this psychopath in Germany just 5 seconds before. And now I got little kids asking me, is it hot in the desert? Is there snakes? Is there cactus? What about the phone booth? That was wild. I got a lot of phone calls from radio stations, a lot of rock radio stations, and a lot of AM talk radio station. Of course, the biggest being Coast to Coast. But I was on several AM talk radio stations. As far as the rock station goes, I think the biggest response I got was WAAF in Boston, which doesn't exist anymore. There's a DJ on there named Mistress Carrie. And she'd been calling the phone booth for a long time. I had no idea, I just learned about the phone booth in December of 1999. And decided to go out there. So when Carrie got through, it seemed to be a little bit bigger deal. I seemed to be on the same wavelength with this DJ and the station and the people that listen to the station. I got a lot of calls from their listeners after that. They were all fun to talk to. Boston, it was great, and the surrounding area. And Mistress Carrie, the station paid for her to come out and visit me, which she did. It was a big deal for WAAF, the Mojave Desert phone booth, because Mistress Carrie was persistent in calling it. And then I picked it up. That call stands out in my mind because it's a huge impact. This radio station drove from Boston out here to meet me in the desert. I got a ton of calls from the Boston area. I had a lot of fun talking to people. That call stands out in my mind. I like talking to the DJ at KABC AM radio in Los Angeles. I think I had like 3 or 4 interviews with that, the afternoon guy in the afternoons, and like 3 o'clock in the afternoon I would talk to KABC LA. I like talking to those guys too. I did a paranormal show besides Art Bell up in Canada, but it wasn't very long. It was a short interview. And oh, Maggie, she's getting on my lap right now. Check it out. Maggie May. Now let me think. What else? What else? What else? What else? Oh. After Art Bell, I got a lot of Art Bell listeners, and I got a lot of crazy. Oh, I got a call from a guy named Captain Zeno, who said the military was coming after me because I wrapped the phone booth in a tarp, which is some kind of federal offense. That one made me laugh. Captain Zeno. Who else? Who else? Who else? Oh, my mind's going blank. There's so many fun calls. So many fun phone calls. It really was quite the experience to go through. Just non-stop phone ringing, talking to the world, taking it off the hook at night to sleep. Oh, man. Oh, Germany. I got a kid from Germany called me who was trying his best to come out here, and he wanted me to drive him up to the booth. I said, dude, you can make it here, man, and find me. I'll drive you up there, you know. Got a handful of marriage proposals by women. That was always fun. But yeah, phone calls on the Mojave Desert phone booth. You know, if I think of some more, maybe I'll throw some more in another video. I want to wrap this up. Peace and love. Live long and prosper. Coming to you from the House of Dots in Slab City, California. Oh, Maggie May. There's a Maggie May one more time. There she is. Bye-bye.